Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Puddy, and welcome to the Monday Podcast. A little bit of a substitute for the usual Sunday podcast that is an on again, off again, sometimes multi man, sometimes one man podcast production covering a range of topics. I decided to do one right like an hour ago because I felt like talking about some stuff. There's a lot of shit that's gone on this week in Prograps that I'd like to talk about. So I thought I'd do it, and a lot of like half of our wrestling of our podcasts over the last year or so have probably been wrestling. So I thought it was appropriate to just come on and ramble about it, talk about the stuff I've watched this week. Oh, I don't have myself muted. There we go. Yeah, I thought I'd come on to talk about the stuff I've been watching this week and some of the stuff I haven't, because in all honesty, I don't think I've watched nearly enough wrestling this week. But the women's stuff that's going on in WWE right now is really important to talk about. But before I go on to do that, I'd like to talk about tonight's Raw. Am I watching Rey Mysterio right now? I don't know. I just look back and I think they're doing an old show. But yeah, I thought I'd cover Raw. Say how I talk about how I thought about it. Same with Battleground, which went on last night on the network. I see there's a lot of mixed reaction with Raw tonight, I think, and also Battleground, I think. A lot of, there's a 50-50 split, and there's a lot of people in the middle. Some people thought it was awesome. Some people thought it was a really good show. And then some people thought it was dreadful, both Battleground and Raw. And yeah, it's really, really 50-50 from what I've seen online. I think the overwhelming opinion is it was bad. I think I'm in the middle. I don't think the show was too bad tonight, but there was a lot of I think the word overbooked is used quite a bit in pro wrestling, and I think it's sometimes used a bit too much. But I think tonight it was like overbooking perfectly, if you will, because it was not perfectly, not by any means, but it's about, like, I saw someone say this in a thread I was reading, that it was the perfect representation of what WWE wants to put on tonight, which is soap opera with some wrestling in the background. And overall, I was sports entertained tonight. There was a lot of shit going on. Some of the shit stuck on the wall. Some of the shit didn't stick on the wall. When I go back and I think about like who was in the show tonight, like if you really think about it, a lot of the guys that I've been wanting to be featured were featured. Look at that main event. You've got guys like Rusev. You've got guys like Cesaro in the main event picture. Lana's actually done some decent character work tonight. Summer Rae has probably done her best work in months tonight. And then we had two women's matches, which, I think I'll talk a little bit more about the women's stuff later, but that's a big deal. Like, two proper women's matches too, because we've had two women's matches all year, like usually, like not usually, but 50% of the time. But they've been 3-minute matches, and they've been just random stuff that's going on. Total Divas theme stuff. I only hear the Total Divas theme music once tonight. It's a big deal. It's progress. And also the tag team match was amazing. Not amazing, but good. These were not amazing matches, but it's like, I'm not overly positive on it, but I'm also not overly negative on it either. And I know for a fact, and I will say this objectively, I don't think anyone will disagree with me on this one, the women's division in WWE right now is miles better than where it was a month ago, where it was 2 weeks ago. Just having those 3 new talents in the division makes it better, because they're amazing talents. Like, I don't watch a lot of Shimmer, and I don't watch a lot of Shine. A lot of what I watch comes from NXT and WWE, and so like there's not a lot of United States like mainstream indies that put on fantastic women's wrestling. So when I say that Sasha Banks is the #1 women's wrestler in the world right now, maybe that's an over exaggeration. She's freaking damn good, and Paige is an incredibly good performer. Like, there's just so much talent in that division now. It's very hard for them to screw it up, I would say. But I've said this for a while. I would say there's more talent in that women's division right now than there ever has been in the WWE. Ever. When we had our resurgence with Trish and Lita and Mickie James in the mid noughties, we still had a lot of model converts. We still had a lot of green as grass there for their looks, there for their mainstream appeal, there for their, outreach press with Playboy and stuff. Workers like, I don't know, Ashley Massaro or Maria Kanellis, or, and nothing at all, no diss to Maria Kanellis, who is probably up there in the top 3 managers in the world right now, but she never would have found that kind of feat in the WWE, where she was just never booked correctly. She was booked as an in-ring performer, which I just think is a bad idea. And seeing how successful Maria has been outside of the ring is why I'm so gun-shy on seeing Lana get into the ring. Because I just think those worlds... if she's good, that's great. But, just because she's over doesn't mean she's a good wrestler. That's something that I think the WWE struggles with, especially when, we're going to talk about this, hopefully, if I get back on track, with The Undertaker, is that he's 50 years old, and I'm the biggest Undertaker mark you'll meet, and he was my favorite wrestler as a kid, and, I mark for him. I go crazy whenever I see him on my television screen, and every segment he's in is better because of it, most of the time. Sometimes I'm worried, because I don't want him to get hurt, and that seems like a regular thing these days. But even as an Undertaker mark, I will tell you for a fact that him wrestling a main event at the age of 50 at SummerSlam is fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. And it is the most ridiculous. This is the worst thing that I learned tonight. And we only have one SummerSlam match set, and it's that one. And it's fucking stupid. It's okay. So let's get on to the show. The show opened with Taker coming out and talking about Brock, and I thought it was a fiery promo. I'm glad Taker needs to dress like that more often, because it hides a lot of the negatives and allows us to have a little more of a nostalgia moment. And the promo was good. Taker's never been a great promo, and I thought this was pretty good for what he is. A lot of people are not too high on this promo. But he just basically talked about the streak and how he was fine with, Brock beating it, because streaks are made to be broken, but he wasn't so he wasn't so happy with Paul Heyman parading the fact around, and that's why he wanted to come back and get revenge and blah blah blah. I don't know why he waited a year and a half. I don't know why he ignored Brock when he faced Bray earlier this year. I don't know. Okay, this is the 3rd time we've seen Taker since the streak was broken, so I don't know. It's a little bit of a silly story, but it works for what it is. It's not the worst of our problems right now that the story isn't fantastically booked, because honestly, the emotion that those two showed tonight, Brock, Paul, and Taker, it made up for it. The story's there. I think the passion is there. I just think the biggest problem with this is that it is Brock Lesnar, who is 38 years old, who is not a ring general, who is not... he has to be carried to 5-star matches. Maybe not 5-star matches, but really good matches, the guy is extraordinary in the ring when he has an extraordinary opponent with Brock Lesnar. You saw that at Night of Champions last year with Cena, when they were trying to work a normal match, and it was pretty bad. Brock Lesnar needs to work with either a ring general, or he needs to be working an angle, which is what happened at SummerSlam last year, and that's why it was so successful. Because it wasn't a match; it was Brock Lesnar doing moves to a ragdoll, And then at Royal Rumble, you had Seth Rollins, who I don't know quite where Seth Rollins is right now, but back in January, he was probably at the best time of his career, probably, and they were just great match at Rumble. And then Brock worked at Mania, and I wasn't too fussed with the stuff before the Seth Rollins cash in, but it's pretty good for what it was. But I thought that was more angle than anything. Brock works a specific kind of match, and with Undertaker, especially if they give it 30 minutes, 20 minutes even, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I have visions of the WrestleMania 30 match, which was bad. If you guys haven't seen the 30 match from last year, the streak ending match, if you don't know the result, it's good, because it's a shock. It's a guy losing at WrestleMania after he has won 21 times before that in a row without losing. That's a big deal. That's the biggest winning streak in pro wrestling, and and he lost, and that's a big deal, and that made the moment special for a lot of people. But the match itself was disgusting. The match was bad. It was slow. Taker was concussed twice. Taker was Taker was in bad shape at 30. That's why I liked seeing him at 31, because he'd done a lot to recover. He's a lot better now than he was there. I don't know what was wrong with him. I don't know, but he looked bad at 30. He looked pretty bad at 29. But I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad at 29. Like Punk put on better matches that year, definitely, because Taker was old, and I don't know, because at 29 he was a year removed from one of my favorite matches of all time at 28 in the Hell in a Cell, and only like 3 or 4 years removed from like a lot of people's favorite match of all time with Shawn Michaels. Taker got better with age, but there was a point, and I don't know whether it was 29 or it was 20 or it was 30, when he just fell off. And 30 he looked bad, and the match was bad, and that's what I'm worried about with SummerSlam. But aside from that, it was good. Later in the night, I'll just talk about the story rather than go chronologically. But later in the night, about an hour later, there's a big story in between with the Authority trying to keep Brock from entering the building so they'd stop a brawl breaking out. I wasn't really paying too much attention to that. It was you knew Brock was going to get into the building, so you just wondered what was going to happen when he did. When he did, Paul Heyman was in the ring cutting a fiery promo. Hot fire from Paulie. I think that was probably one of his better ones this year, actually, because there was just so much emotion in it when he cut the promo that Paulie with motivation is a lot better than Paulie without motivation. And Paulie just cut a good promo tonight. And afterwards, Taker came out, and the emotion was there that I thought this was a highly charged segment, and I liked it. But again, like every time I saw those two together, and I have to admit, Taker can still pull out some pretty nice looking strikes. I can't deny Mr. Taker that, because he was quoted as being one of the best brawlers in the business when he was still full time, and he is a good brawler. Is he strong style brawler? No, but he is a good brawler, and I thought the brawl they did today was good, but it still doesn't stop me from feeling absolutely terrified about what's going to happen at SummerSlam. And if it was like the third match from the top, then I would be like, all right, fine, whatever. It's Brock Lesnar versus Taker. It's a match that'll pop the crowd and sell some tickets, but it's the main event. It's the match. I hate WWE and their main event philosophy. The main event doesn't always have to be the last match on the card. No, you build to the last match on the card. The last match on the card is a big deal. Like, that's what sends the fans home happy or sad. That's the big match. You save your if it's 10 minutes, then you were expecting more. The last match on the card should have a lot of time dedicated to it, whether that's in the ring or in promo packages. It doesn't matter. You should make it feel like a big deal. And this is why this is the benefit of fake sports. You can make every main event a 30-minute classic, because you're not going to go out there most of the time and have a quick knockout, because this is not a real sport. You can make it entertaining, and that's one of the reasons why this sport is so attractive to me, is because you can make these stories happen, and you can make these main events happen whenever you want. And then you put Taker versus Brock on again, a match that is like, I always say, like, putting on a match that's never happened before as a main event is a risk. Like, you put on a match that has happened before, and it's proven to be bad. So it's just baffling to me that they would put Cena versus sorry, I keep saying Cena. It's Brock versus Taker again as the main event of SummerSlam. I should probably stop talking about it because it's irritating me. Maybe they'll impress me. Taker impressed me at Mania this year, so we'll see. Brock's definitely a better worker than Wyatt. Freudian slip. Brock is also a better worker than Rusev. Okay, what happened after the Undertaker promo? I think we had the women's segment. So the first women's match was Charlotte versus Brie Bella. Probably literally the worst matchup I can even think of out of those three teams. I think maybe worse would be Tamina versus Brie Bella. That would probably be the worst matchup you could figure out. But Charlotte, out of the three girls that got called up, is definitely the weakest. She's still lacking a little bit, but she really impressed me not only tonight, but also on Wednesday. On Wednesday, she sold like a champ on NXT in the main event. like a champ, man. That selling was great. Like, I don't know if she can sell body parts well enough for my liking, but she can definitely sell exhaustion. And as someone who's watched a lot of New Japan over the last like year, I love exhaustion sells. I think they're emotional. I think they add to a story of a game of a match when you've beat the shit out of each other so much that eventually one of you just collapses. I love that kind of sell. And Charlotte did it well on Wednesday, and tonight she played a face well. Like, which surprises me because Charlotte is not a very good girl. I guess she is a bad guy girl. She is a heel at heart, I would say, the nature girl. Because I just think like her naturally superior gimmick is a bit. It's just a nice thing to what's the word? It's just a good heel gimmick because it's just naturally arrogant. It's naturally above all. So that's why I prefer her as a heel. I also think she's got a lot of douche charisma. This is a concept I came up with when trying to describe Roman Reigns. He has a lot of charisma, but when he's on his own, he just seems like a douche. So that's why I think he's a good heel. But just like Dean Ambrose helped Roman Reigns in my eyes with appearing as a babyface, so too has the Powerpuff Girls with Charlotte. Like, there's a couple of little interesting wrinkles to that relationship that we see a little later in the night. But overall, having those girls in her corner, like out of all the teams, and some of the teams are bad, but out of all the teams, I think those three, even though it doesn't really make a lot of sense that they're together, they benefit each other the most, especially Charlotte. Like, because she's just, she feels a lot naturally. She feels a lot more natural as a babyface when she's got a group around her. So I've got a comment from the Mr. Ugly Muffin. I'm not sure if you're still here, but you asked what I was talking about. I'm talking about wrestling and Monday Night Raw, which happened tonight. And I'm also going to talk about some New Japan a little bit in a bit. And a little bit of NXT. And then if we got a little bit of time later, I might talk about video games. Although probably not, considering how much wrestling I've already talked about. But yeah, what was I talking? Oh yeah, the women's segment. I'll talk a little bit more in depth about the women's stuff in a little bit because I want to do a whole thing on that, starting from what happened last week. Because I'm very engaged. I'm very invested in women's wrestling. I think I'm at the stage in my fandom that it's actually my favorite thing to watch. Yeah, pretty much. Like my favorite match this year is Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. Like over, and I watch a lot of pro wrestling, so like, yeah, I like women's wrestling. Women's wrestling is a big thing for me, so that's why I'm so invested in it. So we'll move on from this hastily. Brie Bella is still a terrible worker. She's not a very good babyface either. Sorry, she is a good baby. I don't know. She's not a good heel. Definitely plays to the crowd way too much. And oh god, why are they letting her use Daniel Bryan's moves when she's a heel? He is the most babyface in a long time. Like since Rey Mysterio. Yeah, since Rey Mysterio, I'd say he is the most babyface. And you let a heel use that type of offense. It just don't work. It just don't, unless you emphasize the strong style side of it, which this is Brie Bella we're talking about, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know at all. What happened immediately following the women's segment? I believe we had the Big Show and the Miz. It was boring. Big Show did a high-flying move. Miz is a good heel, good actor. He entertains me. Otherwise, the wrestling was shit. That's about all I need to say. Ryback has a staph infection, and you won't believe how much joy and not joy. I don't wish anybody pain, and I hope he's doing okay. But just ironic pleasure that gives me. Who the hell is Goto facing right here? That's not Cody Hall. It's a Bullet Club member that I don't know. Oh, is it Takahashi? I think it might be Takahashi. I don't know the Bullet Club. I don't know the Bullet Club at all. Anyway, moving on. Moving on to, I think it was the tag team stuff after that, which again, I'm really not into the primetime players. I got to give Darren a chance. I haven't really given Darren a chance, but Titus I have. And he's way too old for me to think he can develop past where he was last year as a singles guy in NXT. He just can't do it. And in the ring, he just looks like he's having a hard time moving around. And that really bothers me. So I don't like the primetime players. I hope they lose the belts soon, preferably like tomorrow on SmackDown would be my preferable choice. But obviously, like if you want to wait till SummerSlam, put them back on the New Day, man. The New Day are over. The New Day are like your second most over act in the entire freaking company right now. Well, not right now, but they used to be. I don't understand why you take the belts off them. Bad idea. Terrible idea. So yeah, put the belts back on the New Day. It's a good idea. Okay, so there you go. That's all I need to say about the tag division. I should probably say a bit more. So I like a bit more focus on the tag division, but unfortunately, like there's just not that many, like pure tag team out there. So you just have to start building it from the ground up, which you could do. You could certainly do it. It's just about taking the time and the effort to do it. And time and the effort does not mean Los Jobadores versus Primetime Players, and then about 15 minutes of tag team action, and then nothing for the rest of the show. That's not called building. The tag division is so boned right now. It's terrible. You need to... it's awful. It's awful. And like people were saying, like when the Primetime Players won the belts, they're going to be transition champions for Rowan and Harper. And maybe they would have been if Rowan didn't get injured. But still, Rowan and Harper did not wrestle a match on Raw. For God's sake, if you want tag team champions to be tag team champions, then wait, is this a tag match? I thought this was the G1 Climax. Okay, whatever. I want singles matches. I want the tournament. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I'm watching the G1 Climax right now. Hopefully I'll give you my reactions on it. But so far, I don't think I've seen a G1 Climax match. Is that Captain New Japan? That's Cody Hall. Sorry, I should stop talking about what I'm watching. I should talk about what I just watched, which is Raw. I'm tired, which might be why I'm rambling. But I feel like I got a lot to say tonight, so I don't think it'll be a short episode. Okay, the tag team stuff. I like the New Day. I like... the Lucha Dragons. I like Los Jobadores, actually. I like the Reapers, but obviously Rowan's injured. I like Brass Ring Club, but obviously Kid's injured badly. I'm glad he survived. It was like a 5% survival rate. So, not much else to say about that. I like Enzo and Cass, but they're not ready. I like Blake and Murphy, but they need more character development with Alexa Bliss. And I like the Vaudevillains, but good God, have they been screwed up in NXT? And if you can't get over in NXT, you can't get over anywhere. So there you go. That's the tag division. Very good summary right there. I went through every single possible tag team in the entire division. The Ascension is shit. Garbage. It's terrible. I don't think there's any way of saving them now. Like, I don't believe in the two's ability as workers to get over, and they're not over. And they fucked up their debut. So that's it. I'm sorry. Maybe one of them, I couldn't tell you which, has a future as a singles dude, but I think they would be better off working in, like, I'd hate to say Lucha Underground because I'll probably ruin Lucha Underground, but they'd probably be better off working indies. I don't know if they'd make more money, but they'd certainly have a better chance of putting on a good show, which is really what you hope for in pro wrestling. But yeah, whatever. Moving on from the tag division before I get depressed, we have... Oh yeah, that was when, right after the tag division stuff was when the brawl between Taker and Brock broke out, which is pretty cool. Brock's Brock. Brock's really entertaining. Very few times have I been not entertained by Brock Lesnar this year. The guy's just entertaining me. I don't think there's much else to say about that. Like, I think it's the same with a lot of people. Brock Lesnar is a good wrestler. Like, a good pro wrestler, good sports entertainer. Paul Heyman is perfect to have with him. So, yeah, I've talked way too much about the Brock Lesnar thing, so I'll move on. We got Roman Reigns versus Luke Harper, which is a good in theory, decent in execution, poor in finish. Which is, okay. Like, it ended in like a DQ finish when Wyatt pulled Reigns out. It looks like we're having a Wyatt and Harper versus Ambrains match, which would be great. Like, I'm all in on that. That's 4 great workers in a tag match for SummerSlam. All 4 of which I'd love to see showcased on a big show. For sure, yeah, I'm down for that. 100%. Yeah, I see nothing wrong with this. Like, I don't know if the build is great. It's not capturing my interest, but the match should be. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. So let's hope it does okay. I wish I'd be perfectly happy if one of those guys, any of those 4 guys, actually faced Rollins in the main event. But no, Taker versus Brock is main eventing. So there you go. I wouldn't even give a shit if it was Roman. I hope he wouldn't win, but, it'd be okay. Roman versus Seth is probably decent, even though, like, You can. I don't think you can ever do Roman versus Seth at a big show now because like Roman beat Seth so clean last year. Unless they focus on that, it's just so like that's the thing you ruin when you beat one of your up and coming stars so clean. Which we could talk about Kevin Owens, but that would just depress me. So I will move swiftly along to Seth Rollins. Oh yeah, getting away from Swift and horrible burials. I guess we're gonna move on to Seth Rollins. So Rollins came out tonight to get an announcement for the match last night. So I think that was a cool thing to do. Because obviously, in the Brock Lesnar Seth Rollins match last night, Taker interfered, and so we didn't have a definitive ending. So Seth wanted an announcement, which is cool, and I liked how he healed it up with when Lilia went to announce the winner by DQ. It was going to be Brock Lesnar. Seth made a bit of a move for that, so I enjoyed that. That was good. That was good healing. And then Cena came out. I can't lie to you. I'm a little bit worried that we had an interaction between John Cena and Seth Rollins tonight. I'm extremely worried actually, and yeah, nothing's official yet, and I'm glad because they can still back out of it. And I hope they do. There's a lot of like not rumors, but like a lot of theories that Cena's gonna win the world title at SummerSlam, which would be like the worst thing in the world. So I would rather that not happen if at all possible. But I cannot for the life of me think of anyone else to fight Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Honestly, like with Brock and Taker confirmed to be main eventing, you might as well just take Seth Rollins, let him have the night off. Like, let him do something that night, but don't have him wrestle. Because like it's not gonna end well for Seth Rollins. Just give him a night off. That's what I would do. I just think that's the most beneficial for all parties involved, honestly. Yeah, that's honestly what I would do, honestly. I say honestly way too much. But I hope John Cena, like, there's two matches that could destroy SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar could lose clean to a 50-year-old man, and then John Cena could become a 16-time world champion in the same night. Now, wouldn't that be something? Good Lord, wouldn't we have come so far from the WrestleMania where at the end of it we had Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, John Cena, Nikki Bella, and the Cesaro and Tyson Kidd as our champions. And then at SummerSlam we have John Cena as the world champion again, and Taker went over Lesnar clean. And we're building towards a Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match at WrestleMania 32. Good Lord, this company is like, so peaks and troughs, man. WWE's peaks and troughs. You go up, you go down. Kevin Owens debuts, Kevin Owens taps to John Cena. The women debut, Total Divas music plays. You know, Rusev has a fantastic week where he has two great, amazing matches. And then Summer Rae comes and dresses up like Lana because reasons. Peaks and troughs, man. You just got to roll with the punches. That's another example. Cesaro and Rusev have fantastic matches all week, not even on the pay-per-view. So, nonsensical booking, non-consistent booking. It's what ruins these talents. It really is. And like, that's the thing. WWE have not created a new main event level star since like Sheamus. At a push, Sheamus. With Punk and Bryan, like you could argue, but they didn't want to create those stars. Like I don't know, maybe they did, but they definitely wanted other people in that spotlight. And the thing is with Bryan, I don't want to get back into it, but with Bryan, it was meant to be Batista. Like it's happening all over again. Where it should have been Bryan's spotlight, it's Batista's. Where it should have been Rollins' spotlight here, it's freaking Taker's. Like I love Taker, but. I don't want to complain because I enjoyed the show tonight, but there's a lot of stupidity in this company, and it affects the product long term and it affects the product short term. Because like as much as I enjoyed both of the shows, really, Kevin Owens tapped clean to John Cena 3 months after debut. You know, there's a big thing there. I don't know. It leaves, and Kevin Owens did like shit tonight. He had his character work, which was on point as usual. He was an angry man who walked away from a fight, did some good stuff in the ring, but just not where it needed to be. Not at all. So, like because he's in the main event, sure, but like at least with Cesaro, he's doing shit in the main event. I think it's WWE's inability to book heels. Like, I don't know, because like with Rollins, like Rollins lacks a credible challenger. Cesaro is perfect. Rollins versus Cesaro. It's that's a very sensible SummerSlam match. It would be great, and it would make a lot of sense because Cesaro is hot right now as a face. But the problem is Cesaro missed the freaking pay-per-view. Cesaro is nowhere near built ready for that. But they don't plan ahead. Like, they don't understand. At least I don't think so. Tonight we don't know who's facing Rollins at SummerSlam. It might well be freaking John Cena, who has a different title. Like, he's not even in the same division as Seth Rollins. And they're going to throw the two together because they didn't have the common sense to build a freaking challenger over the last month. It could have even been Dean Ambrose, as stupid as that would have been, like a month after Seth Rollins beat him clean 3 months in a row. Like, as stupid as that would have been, at least it would have been something, unlike what they've got now, where they've got nobody. And falling back on John Cena is a bad idea because John Cena is doing the best work of his career right now, and it's away from that crowded, stuffy, Vince McMahon-controlled main event scene where heat goes to die, and you are blamed for every low rating that the company is doomed to have, and it is just ranting. So Seth Rollins came out and had an interaction with John Cena. The promos were actually quite good. I liked Seth Rollins' attitude, but I really don't want to see them in a match unless Seth Rollins goes over, which it's not going to happen, like, ever. Like, we saw that. Like, Seth Rollins has the exquisite distinction of coming out of a John Cena feud better than when he went in, or at least undamaged last December. And that took a lot of, like, Seth Rollins keeping away from John Cena. You go head-to-head, like, more than once, you're screwed. You're just screwed. Like, change my mind, WWE. Book Cena versus Owens at SummerSlam. Have Owens go over clean. It would be Cena's third SummerSlam in a row that he's lost clean. SummerSlam is Cena's Bane night. So, sure, do it. Prove me wrong. But, like, at this point, like that, like, you still don't have a face challenger for Rollins unless you put Cena in there. And then, like, even I don't think Cena should lose another feud right after he loses the Owens one. So then you'd have to put Cena over Rollins, which is stupid. So you just no main event faces, pretty much no main event heels, pretty much no main event. The smartest thing for them to do right now would be the main event SummerSlam with Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. Honestly, that would probably be the best idea for them to do. Honestly, that's so frustrating. So frustrating. There is nothing in the main event right now. You got Cesaro, who is like missed the pay-per-view. So it's clear that he's just nowhere near built enough to challenge for the main event yet. And then you've got who else is, like, you got Kane. I guess he did a babyface turn. Could do Kane versus Rollins at SummerSlam. Yay. So stupid. You got Noble and Mercury. I guess they're babyface now, but like Noble is legitimately hurt with broken ribs, so you can't do that. You got Cena, which is stupid. I guess you got Rusev. Like, Rusev has proven to me over the last couple of weeks that he's a hell of a babyface. The guy, like, last week when he was fighting Cena and he had gone through like Rusev has gone through so many gauntlets these last couple of weeks, it's ridiculous. Like, last week he was in a grueling and awesome triple threat match, and then he had to face the US champion, and he almost won the match after getting beat down by douchebag John Cena. And then this week his teammates abandoned him, and he still had to take a distraction to lose the match. So Rusev is a cool baby face right now, even though I'm not sure that's where they're going with the feud. But sure, whatever. That works for me. I don't know. Like, I really don't. Orton versus. Oh no, that happened already. As did most things. Honestly, the thing that makes a lot of sense is Reigns, but then he's with Wyatt. Sting. Like, there's rumors of Rollins versus Sting, but then, like, a lot of people, I don't quite agree with this because I'm not as big of a Sting fan as most people, but a lot of people want Sting to get a win in the WWE, and I can agree with that sentiment. And I don't want it to come against Seth Rollins. So, you come into this situation where, like, Cesaro is the perfect guy to build for 3 months to lose to your world champion once or twice. and then build for 3 months. The problem is they don't do that with guys ever. You lose a feud and you're on Superstars, unless you're John. Like, those are the only people who are protected. Dean Ambrose missed the pay-per-view. He was in the main event for the last 3 pay-per-views, and then he missed this one. It's ridiculous. Like, they just have no long-term booking plans whatsoever, and it just boggles the mind because you've got so much talent on that roster now, and that's what's making it watchable. Like, I honestly believe that WWE is better product-wise than it's been in a long, long while. But that's just because there's just so much talent there that you can't fuck it up. Like, they are doing good things with giving them more time. John Cena versus Cesaro got like 20, 30, 40 minutes last week. Maybe the week before. Yeah, the week before that. So you give people with talent time to work a match, they'll put on a good match. Sure. Good. You're doing a little bit of good things there. But still, as like NXT has proven, if you can tell simple stories, that enhances the work as well. And that's what really gets it to that pinnacle. And NXT has had a bit of a rough patch this year, I would say, but like late 2014, early 2015, probably from September of 2014 to maybe March of 2015, NXT was just an excellent wrestling product that is almost like an example of what to do. It's just telling simple stories with a lot of good talent and with a focus on professional wrestling. That's like all you got to do. Build people. And they just don't do it. They have 2 guys that they build, and everyone else, their plans change on a weekly basis. All right, so I want to actually stop complaining here. So the main event was a 6-man tag with Owens, Rusev, and Sheamus on one side, and Orton, Cena, and Cesaro. Yes, that's a weird tag team indeed. On the other side, and then Sheamus walks out because Sheamus is a prick and he's a heel, so that makes a lot of sense. And then Owens walks out because he's a prick and he's a heel. That makes a lot of sense as well. This was quite fun. And then there was a little bit of distraction. Summer Rae and Lana had some emotional conflict, and the passion was there. The passion was real. It was fun. And then Cena AA'd Rusev into a Cesaro catapult into a RKO, which was ridiculous. And once the highlights come out tomorrow, if anybody's watching this tomorrow or today, then I would totally recommend you go and watch that finish, because it was ridiculous. Like, seeing, like, it wasn't the best RKO ever, but still seeing the AA into the catapult into the RKO was cool. It was the highlight of this show, and there was a women's tag on the show that I haven't talked about yet that was also very good. So there you go. You got a cool main event. Cool stuff to go off the air. It felt like a bit of a house show, actually. A lot of just random shit flowed into it. There was like 2 stories. The women, and their story wasn't told very well. And the world title, not the world title. I wish it was the world title. Brock versus Taker. And their story was told like reasonably well, but it's Brock versus Taker, so you've always got that thought in the back of your mind. I won't talk about it anymore. I've talked about it a lot. All right, that's Raw. Overall, one of my impressions of it. I was sports entertained tonight. If I didn't have too much time on my hands, would I have watched it? Probably not. But it certainly was, for somebody who watches the WWE like every week, it was at least above average episode. But a lot of them have been recently, so maybe I need to start improving my skill. Certainly not as good as NXT. I would definitely say that. NXT is much better product, just top to bottom, for my money. At least it used to be. They just took out 4 of their biggest stars. Let's see how it is going forward, especially since it was struggling already this year. I want to talk about women's wrestling for a little bit, because there's been a big push towards that this week, and a lot of people are going mental about it, and I wish I could join them. So get ready for, like, I'm going into this hoping to be pretty neutral. Like, there's not going to be that much negativity, but I find that every time I do that, I end up being really negative. So be warned, I'm probably going to be a little negative on this one. This week I'm a lot more positive, and last night I'm a lot more positive on than I am last week. Last Monday's angle that everyone was going apeshit about, I'm not happy with that angle. The matches, oddly enough, what I'm actually happy with. I actually am happy with the matches. But the angle last week was a little silly. I'm not sure I like the factions idea. Here's my biggest problem with the factions. Here's my biggest problem with the way they've booked it. And there's also a counterpoint in there that I'd like to put in there. You need to put legitimacy in the women's, the Divas title, the butterfly belt, that stupid thing. It's difficult, I know, but you have to put prestige into it. That's what the division should be built on. Like, there's no other story you're telling here. The story you should be telling is that everyone wants that belt. So why, in heaven's name, have we gone 3 big shows, 4 if you count SmackDown, without even talking about the belt? Like, that's the biggest thing. Nobody says they want the belt. Charlotte has 2 clean submission victories, I think both over Brie Bella, in the last 48 hours. She's looking pretty strong right now. We need a promo from Charlotte saying, I want the belt. It's all good having this faction warfare and this bitches be crazy stuff with the faction warfare. I'm sorry to call it that, but honestly, like, that's the way they're presenting it. Here's 3 girls that are banding together because reasons. Like, the reason at the start was to revolutionize the division. That's cool. The division is the title. The division is the champion. You need to have the championship involved in the main storyline. You just have to. That's how, like my only reference to great women's wrestling was the Lita Trish feud and NXT. And in both of those situations, the title is core and center. There was a match that everybody lauds from last year between Charlotte and Natalya, and that match had a lot of heritage and history behind it. And there's a lot of other context going into that, the story-wise. But at its core was that they wanted to be champion. It's the same with Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. There was very, like, they did not build that match very well story-wise. They really didn't. It was a quick build, a quick babyface turn from Becky Lynch that a lot of people weren't getting behind. But it was the championship at its core, and you don't need strictly heel and face alignments when you have a title. Like, it's not about being good guys and bad guys all the time. If you have a title, then it's just about fighting for that title. But at the moment, you've got, there's no title in there because nobody gives a shit about the title because nobody talked about the title. I don't need title matches every week. I don't need title changes every week. But I want there to be continuous mention that, hey, maybe from the commentary team, whoever picks up the pinfall in this match could possibly be in line for a title shot next week. Every week, I want people asking, what do I need to do to get a title shot? Number 1 contenders matches every once in a while. And yes, I would like title matches every once in a while. We shouldn't go a major pay-per-view without a title match. Now, here's the counterpoint. Nikki has apparently been working hurt for a couple of weeks, maybe even months. I think it's her shoulder. And she's taking this faction time and this faction time. Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. To take some rest. We didn't have a women's match last Raw. We had a women's match last night and tonight. We had 3 matches in the last 48 hours, women's wise, and all of them didn't include Nikki Bella, which indicates to me that the rumors about her using the factions to cover her injury is true. So, like, not her using it, obviously the booking team using it. That's not a blame at all. And I was the first person to say, look, if she's hurt, she shouldn't be working. And I agree with that. I think she shouldn't be working if she's hurt. Now, if she needs a month to heal, all right, fine. Don't have her work for a month. But you need to be talking about the title, and you need to be building up a number 1 contender for when she isn't hurt. Now, if she is hurt for longer than a month, longer than 30 days, I say you vacate the title. Or you try and get her in like a 3-minute, 4-minute match to get the title off of her. Probably better off vacating it. And vacating the title could have a hell of a lot of great implications for the division as it stands right now. We've just had a major shakeup. If the title was vacated, we have 8 women. Perfect amount, actually. With Nikki Bella gone, there are 8 women that could compete in the tournament for the title. That would add instant prestige to it. It would be all about the title. The first person who got it would go into a major feud, probably with Nikki by the time she wins it. Big deal. I would like that. That would be good. But if you're not going to do that, at least because they want Nikki to break AJ's record, at least, rumored. That's not a big deal, but, that's the rumor. If you want to do that, fine, but you need to keep bringing the storyline back to the title, like, and get rid of the belt and replace it with something a little bit more prestigious, please. Maybe have Sasha Banks unify the two titles and then get a nice world title off. I don't know if that's a great idea though. Unifying the two titles. It's probably a bad idea. You probably want a developmental women's title and a main roster women's title, but alas, whatever. So yeah, the title should be front and center, but otherwise, it's really good to have a lot of good, talented workers in the division tonight. We got frickin' Paige and Becky Lynch in a tag team tonight, which I'll be damned if I didn't mark out a little bit to see the Night Dynasty back, because I like the Night Dynasty. I like Saraya Knight still wrestles indies. WWE, she's experienced. I just get her in there. I really don't understand why they wouldn't get her in there. Like, I know she's older and I know she's made a name for herself on the indies, but then you don't have to stick Charlotte with Becky Lynch and Paige. Like, I saw something when Paige came out tonight. She was all upbeat and happy about shaking hands and get coming out as friends with Becky Lynch, but she had a bit of a change in her face when she saw Charlotte coming out with them. So maybe they are building some dissension in that team, which would be good because like Charlotte hates Becky Lynch, but they're not friends. Like, they're not. I think Charlotte and Paige had some feuding down in NXT, and Charlotte does dislike Becky Lynch because I remember the team Bay, I think it was, or I can't remember what it was, but it was Charlotte was the champion. Sasha was going up against her. I think it was was it Our Evolution? I think it was Our Evolution. And then it was, and at the time, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch were in a tag team. So yeah, Charlotte has some beef with Becky, and Paige has some beef with Charlotte, I think, back from when Paige was champion, or she had to vacate it last year. Anyway, yeah, like it just doesn't make sense to me. And Sasha with Naomi and Tamina, it makes a little bit of sense because Sasha can probably bully them into being her minions eventually. But I don't like the faction warfare because it encourages triple threats, and I like singles matches. It encourages tag team matches, and I like title matches, for God's sake. And it encourages shit like this tonight, where we had a 5-person commentary booth. Ugh. Sorry about the voice crack. It's late. We had a 5-person commentary booth for 2 matches tonight. Like, I don't know if anybody else is with me here, but I still think a 2-man commentary booth is 2-person. I like Renee Young, so I need to throw her in there. Is probably a decent idea. Or 3-man. I should probably stop that. 3-person booth wouldn't be the worst idea in the world either. But I hate it. I hate it when people are on commentary. I've got to be honest, especially if it's more than one person. I hate it. I think they're douchebags most of the time. I hated Titus O'Neil. I disliked both of the people on commentary tonight. I pretty much ignored them. Both of the teams, I mean. It was the Bellas for the second time around, and Tamina, Naomi, and Paige the first time around. Oh, it's Michael Elgin! Holy shit! Hasn't he got a match tonight? No, he's got a match tomorrow against... Ooh, is it Okada? Is it Okada? One sec, I've got the schedule here somewhere. Or do I? I will talk about the G1 Climax as soon as we're done talking about women's wrestling. In fact, I'll probably wrap it up around about here. Yeah, I'm excited. Like, genuinely am. But I don't like the fact that they've put so many people in it. Because it leads to clusterfucks like it is tonight. And they've taken the focus away from the title, which is a really... Like, it's not what I like. I like it to be title focused, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Like, I like it to, I like for the title to be the main focus of any feuds in the division, and so I don't like that there's 9 people going on. So all right, now we'll move past the women's wrestling thing because it's getting. I'm watching the G1 Climax day 1 right now, and I am a little bit confused because it says day one is supposed to include Togi Makabe versus Toriano, and I'm pretty sure I've already seen Togi Makabe in a 5-man tag, and I've already seen Toriano team with Carl Anderson to take on Shinsuke Nakamura and probably someone else from Chaos. I know Styles versus Shibata is definitely tonight. And I know Tanahashi versus Ibushi is definitely tonight. And if you don't want to be spoiled for the G1 Climax, because I do know the spoilers. I haven't seen the matches yet, but I do know the spoilers. It's not really spoilers. It's been aired. I'm watching a little late. And click away now. But Ibushi loses to Tanahashi. I guess that's not really like a surprise, but I don't know. Part of me thought Ibushi would win that to kick off the big tournament. I thought I think this is Ibushi's year to win, and it feels a bit odd for me for the champion to lose so early. If he is indeed the person who goes on to win it, but it is Tanahashi. This is the Japanese John Cena we're talking about here, so maybe not. I'm sure that match is amazing. I can't wait. I'm gonna watch it. Probably not by the time the show finishes, but I will watch it. I'll get back to you. I might do this weekly. I might come back to you late. I might do this daily. I might talk about. Oh, hello, Kazuchika Okada. You are facing Michael Elgin tomorrow. So yeah, they're doing a lot of tag team matches to like hype up future matches. I guess Okada is teaming with Gedo or Yado. I can never tell the difference between the two because I think only one of them actually wrestles, but I think it's Gedo. It looks like Kazuchika Okada is teaming with. Also, it's great to see Kazuchika with the title. I like AJ Styles with the title as much as the next guy, and I think he should have kept the belt. But Okada's the man. Okada is the man of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, he's amazing. Like, so complete package. They're very keen on native talent over there, just like they are in the States. It's nothing new to be keen on talent that comes from your own country, as opposed to talent that comes from other countries that the crowd might find difficulty connecting to. It's nothing new, but like I like the Gaijin guys like AJ Styles. I like the guy. I mean, AJ Styles is probably the most successful Gaijin in a long time. Like, if anybody wants to, like, Lesnar was pretty successful, right? Was what was his name over here? Giant Albert, right? That was his name over here. Jason Albert from WWE Developmental right now. I think he was quite big. Hogan and Andre, I think, were big, but that was a long time ago now. I think Angle did some stuff over here, but AJ Styles has seriously, like, genuinely become New Japan. Like, he's like Bullet Club are like in gimmick foreign, like invaders, not New Japan. But the Bullet Club have become synonymous with New Japan now. So I consider AJ to be. I mean, he's not one of the big three, obviously. Like, it's Nakamura, Okada, and Tanahashi, but he's in that next tier below those three, like, of the people that can be asked upon to have a long title reign, if necessary. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. So I'm a little surprised that Styles, I think, beat Shibata. There you go. I'm always bad at pronouncing these things. I think I'm decent, but like I'm pretty bad. I listen for the Japanese pronunciations, and I just like I can't sync it. So I end up trying to just rely on like some English commentators' pronunciations, which is sometimes fine because usually they do their research, but sometimes it isn't. And now because of various people, I have the name Shinsuke Nakamura in my head, and I very much enjoy saying Shinsuke rather than Shinsuke, which bothers a lot of people, I know. But Shinsuke is so fun to say. But yeah, it is Shinsuke. And I like Shinsuke. Like, I remember I read a post saying, like, Shinsuke Nakamura is your favorite wrestler, even if it's not Shinsuke Nakamura. I was like, yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura is a fantastic pro wrestler. And like, if you're talking about men making titles, Shinsuke Nakamura just made that title, which is which is, in my opinion, like why he's so amazing is because you've sorry, you if you can just make a title all on its own, then that's something special. So I'm getting more talk that I was supposed to see Tenzan versus Gallows, Makabe versus Yano, Naito versus Bad Luck Fale. Oh god. Shibata versus Styles. Yeah, I'm watching the wrong show. I'm almost certainly watching a 3-hour show. Says G1 Climax, but isn't actually G1 Climax. Let me skip ahead to the 3-hour mark to see if I'm seeing Styles. Ooh, I see Ibushi. It's Ibushi versus Tanahashi. Oh my god, Tanahashi. When he dresses up good. That is a sexy man. Alright, I don't know why Doc Gallows. Oh, there's Bad Luck Fale versus Tetsuya Naito. Whatever, I will skip ahead to the main event matches. Okay, we got Styles versus Shibata. There we go. Now I'm watching the good matches. So here are the overall spoilers for New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax Day 1. We've got Hiroyoshi Tenzan defeats Doc Gallows with a submission with the Anaconda Cross. Togi Makabe pins Toru Yano with the King Kong knee drop. Means Bullet Club are 2-0 down already on this night. And then Tetsuya Naito pinned Bad Luck Fale, so that's 3 losses for the Bullet Club. But AJ Styles pulls out a win over Katsuyori Shibata with the Styles Clash. Ooh, I'll have to watch out for that one. And so that was the one Bullet Club win of the night. And then in the main event, Hiroshi Tanahashi pins Kota Ibushi with the High Fly Flow. As you can expect from those 2 names, it was apparently a really, really good match. So Block A currently looks like this. Togi Makabe, Tetsuya Naito, AJ Styles, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Hiroyoshi Tenzan are all on the top of the group in that order, with Makabe top on, I'm assuming, alphabetical order right now. They all have 2 points from their wins, while Bad Luck Fale, Doc Gallows, Kota Ibushi, Katsuyori Shibata, and Toru Yano all have 0 points because they lost their matches. You can expect Shibata, Ibushi, and probably, if I had to guess, Gallows out of those 3 Bullet Club members to rise a bit further up in the rankings. But it is a pretty open group, actually. Only one person from this group goes on to the finals, and it could very well be Styles, Tanahashi, or Ibushi. There's also an outside chance it could also be Tenzan or Naito, but I would be very surprised if it wasn't Styles, Tanahashi, or Ibushi. I actually would be pretty surprised if it wasn't Ibushi. Yeah, I'm not too into New Japan, so maybe I'm a little bit poorly educated, but I'm feeling Kota Ibushi this year for this tournament. So we'll see as it goes on. Lots of great wrestling, by the way. Like 3 hours of pro wrestling every day between now and I think it's 19 days. So it's a ridiculous amount of pro wrestling. And you got Tanahashi versus Kota Ibushi tonight, and I think tomorrow it's Nakamura versus Carl Anderson, which is by no means a 5-star match, but that's a good match right there. That's a good match to have as your low key main event. There's also a couple of there was a full schedule out there that I had earlier, and I'm very disappointed that I am unable to find it. I don't think there's much else to really talk about because, I haven't watched too much else wrestling-wise this week, so I can't really talk about ROH, which I usually watch on Saturdays, and I can't really talk about Lucha Underground because I don't watch it. I will watch it one day, I promise you, but I need to sit down and actually watch it all. I still feel full schedule of matches. Maybe this is it. Ooh, maybe. Okay, well, I can definitely tell you the main events. So I think it's Kazuchika Okada versus Michael Elgin, which should be pretty good, actually. I don't like Elgin that much, but Okada's good wrestler. Shibata versus Naito, which would be all right. Tanahashi versus Tenzan, which would be all right. That's day 3. Day 4 is Nakamura and Nagata. That's okay. Okada Honma, which should be really good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Tanahashi Naito, which should be good. That's day 5 with AJ Styles versus Kota Ibushi. Holy shit. As the semi-main event to that show. Tanahashi, man, you should not be main eventing over Styles and Ibushi. Kojima and Okada main event day 6 with Nakamura versus Elgin as the semi-main. Day 7 sees Tanahashi versus Fale. And then Styles versus Naito main events. Shibata versus Ibushi is in the undercard on that one. Nakamura versus Ishii. You don't get to see that very often. I think they're both in Chaos. And also Hiroki Goto versus Kazuchika day 8. That's a nice one. Holy shit, AJ Styles with the continued Styles Clash counters that are ridiculous. Oh my god. AJ Styles is the master of reversals. That is his just thing. Like, he makes reversals look ridiculous. They look like proper too. Like they don't look like there's some WWE reversals that are like, oh my god, that's stupid. When he does them, it's like, oh my god, that's stupid, but it makes sense. It's stupid that a human being can do that, but he can do that. Day 9 is Makabe versus Naito, and the main event will be Tanahashi versus Toru Yano. Oh, and the undercard is headlined by Shibata versus Bad Luck Fale. Day 9 might be a day to miss. Day 10 is Nakamura versus Goto. Oh, if I'm not mistaking my names, that's a rematch from their Intercontinental Championship feud that's been going over the last couple of months, and that's been amazing. So that's probably going to be great. And in the undercard for that one is Okada versus Anderson, which should be pretty good for what it is as well. Styles versus Makabe starts day 11 with Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito. I like that matchup. That's a nice matchup. They're similar in style. I could really see that one. Great that they get to main event that show, actually, because Tanahashi is nowhere to be seen on that one, which is cool. Day 12 sees Okada versus Ishii again. I think that's a Chaos versus Chaos matchup. Day 13, Naito versus Yano, and then the main event is Tanahashi versus Shibata. Yes, that's a nice main event right there. Day 14, Hiroki Goto versus Tomohiro Ishii, and that, my friends, is probably out of all the matches I've seen so far, I'm really looking forward to that one the most. Day 14, it's August the 9th. It's the day after my birthday. It's Hiroki Goto versus Tomohiro Ishii. I like both of their styles, and I can't wait to see how they clash together. And then in the main event, oh my god, day 14 should just be called Strong Style Day. So in day 14, you've got Hiroki Goto versus Tomohiro Ishii in the semi-main event, and then the main event is Shinsuke Nakamura versus versus Honma. I can't say his first name. Nakamura versus Honma in the main event, and Ishii versus Goto before it. Holy shit, that's a strong style. That's a strong style night. And for those of you who don't know what strong style is, it's hitting the other guy really freaking hard, even though the sport isn't really real. So I enjoy things like that. Is Styles going for that early of a Styles clash? Holy shit, he is. This looks like a great match. Yeah, Styles beat Shibata with a Styles clash, and the Styles clash looks pretty nice. Shibata sold it pretty well. It was relatively short, actually, that match. I know the G1 Climax matches actually are. I think they're on a 30-minute time limit. But, like, that was pretty short, considering Shibata's, like... I'm kind of hoping Shibata doesn't get screwed in this tournament, because, like, he's good. He is good. He had match of the night, in my opinion, at Dominion recently. Where was I? So we were just past the Hoss Fest. That was day 14. Day 15... Oh, God. AJ Styles versus Bad Luck Fale in a Bullet Club versus Bullet Club match. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Togi Makabe. Okay, I can see that doing all right. Day 16, Goto versus Elgin. Kojima versus Nakamura. And Ishii versus Honma. Oh, Ishii versus Honma. Oh, God. The last 5-star match to ever happen in pro wrestling right now is Ishii versus Honma. And I watched it the other day, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Ishii versus Honma is going to be amazeballs. That's the 12th of August, day 16. Day 17 is Togi Makabe versus Koji Ibushi. Koji Ibushi, Kota Ibushi, AJ Styles versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Holy shit. I love the T1 climax. And then day 18, not the final, but the final day of the group stages. The freaking main event of that is Kazuchika Okada versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a match that you probably won't see any other time of year because they're both in chaos. And they're both amazing. Absolutely amazing. Strong style workers. Kazuchika Okada is the reigning IWGP heavyweight champion. Shinsuke Nakamura has the most Intercontinental Championship reigns in the company, and is also a former heavyweight champion. And the two of them are amazing. They usually are in the two main events at the Tokyo Dome, almost like the last 3 years since Okada broke onto the scene. And then on Sunday, August the 16th, the winner of the A block and the winner of the B block fight each other in the finals, and the winner of that goes on to the Tokyo Dome. Probably Kazuchika Okada, possibly Hiroki Goto, and of course, if the titles change hands anytime between now and the Tokyo Dome, then things will change. I've heard that if Okada wins, he gets to pick his challenger, but what makes sense to me is if Okada wins, he gets to fight Goto. That makes a bit more sense to me, but who knows what the New Japan gods have in terms of rules for this. I'm assuming like if Goto wins, he gets to fight Okada, right? Because you get to pick either the IWGP Intercontinental or heavyweight title, and then you main event the Tokyo Dome. So a lot of talking, a lot of New Japan wrestling. I haven't watched any of the. Well, I've just finished watching a few of the matches, but I haven't watched it all yet, so I won't give you any impressions or reviews. All I can say is that if you don't have New Japan World, I would go buy it right now. It's not hard to sign up. It's 999 yen, which equates to about $8 or £5, and it's easy to navigate once you get around to it. And there's so much good pro wrestling from New Japan. It's amazing. It's great. Like I truly believe New Japan Pro Wrestling is the best pro wrestling company on the planet right now. It's not going to take a while. Like the Japanese wrestling scene tends to be quite flexible, so give it a couple of years and it'll probably change. But right now, New Japan is on top of their game. They've got so many great stars. Everyone's going in there now. Like the indie scene from the US, a lot of the top stars there, like Styles, like the Young Bucks, they're getting deals with Japan because New Japan is expanding. It's becoming a really big brand. I think it's going to, if they can branch out from their traditionally Asian like mindset of stay local and stay contained, then I think they could actually make it big. I've heard that their New Japan World, which is the service I just recommended to you guys, doesn't do too well in Japan. So I'm not sure whether they're a bit gun shy to roll it out worldwide, but I can tell you for a fact that there would be a decent base to tap into with a English release in the United States and the UK, because there's a lot of wrestling fans in those two countries, Canada as well. And of course, if you can get a Spanish release in Mexico, like that's another huge marketplace. But Mexico has, like with the States, like States wrestling fans tend to be like try wrestling from a lot of different areas. Same with the UK wrestling fans. With Mexico, like maybe it's because their wrestling is good, unlike States wrestling or UK wrestling. But Mexico tend to like their lucha libre and tend to just like their lucha libre. You know, with Japan, they tend to like their puro. You know, it's just because they have good wrestling, unlike the States, where once you get that big of a wrestling fan, and when you're watching WWE, you're like, okay, this isn't too great anymore. And then you start watching actually good stuff from other countries. So yeah. Oh, I've talked a lot about pro wrestling today because I don't know, this is like a year of my thoughts on pro wrestling condensed into one video because I'm hyper probably. Yeah, it was a good idea to pump out a podcast today, and it was definitely my best solo podcast. A lot of the other ones have gone to absolute shit. And I'm glad I actually lasted this long. It's been like an hour. And there's been a couple of viewers joining me along the way, so thank you. Those of you who joined me live, I appreciate that. For Mr. Ugly Muffin, who left a couple of comments, appreciate that as well. And to anybody watching this after the fact, thank you for watching as well. I really do think if you like pro wrestling, you should be checking out all of the possible options. If you're in the States, check to see if you have the El Rey Network. If you do have the El Rey Network, please watch Lucha Underground. If you have Access TV, there's an English broadcast version of New Japan Pro Wrestling on there pretty much every week. If you have Destination America, you can tune into the Wednesday Night Wars, which is Chikara. I can't remember what they're on. Oh, yeah, okay. Wednesday Night Wars, starting, I think it's next week or the week after. You've got Chikara on their website. Just type in Chikara, Chikara, I think it is. It's Japanese for power, but I think it's a US promotion. It's just mental. And they stream quite early on a Wednesday, and they're starting to do it free on their website for a couple of weeks. After Chikara, you've got a couple of hours break. Then you've got ROH on Destination America, which leads into TNA Impact on Destination America. Now, I personally would not recommend TNA Impact. I think it's a dreadful show, but it's an alternative, so I check it out at least once to see if you like it or not. And then, of course, you have the primetime TV, the best pro wrestling, the best hour of pro wrestling anywhere in the week, in my opinion, which is WWE's NXT. Only available, actually, I think it's available on Hulu Plus as well if you're in the US. So you might want to look into that, see if it's a more viable option for you. But the WWE Network is obviously a really good deal. Definitely recommend the WWE Network. As much as I hate the WWE, there's a ton of content on there, including WCW, ECW, a lot of old stuff. You can cherry pick. Watching the WWE weekly is a bad idea, but watching the best matches from the last couple of years will keep you entertained for a couple of hours. So I would definitely recommend the WWE Network. And, of course, New Japan World. That's New Japan World. Look up how to sign up in English, and I would definitely recommend doing so. I believe that's about it. I think I covered every major wrestling promotion. I should probably talk a bit more about ROH. They do a not a live episode. They do an episode Wednesdays before TNA on Destination America. And that's a week ahead, but they also release on their website for free every Saturday, and that's worldwide as well. So if you're not in the US, that's probably the only way to watch it legally. That's what I would recommend doing. Yep, Lucha Underground's on the LRA Network. Access TV for New Japan. Yeah, I think that is about it for everything. Yeah. All right. I don't know when I'm going to be doing this again, but this was fun. I enjoyed this a lot. I like talking to myself. And yeah. Subscribe. Look, let me know in the comments or with the like button if you want to see some more of this, because I certainly will indulge you. All right. Well, thank you for watching. And stay classy, Suplex City. Bitches.